I always tell students, regardless of what's going on, that Security Plus, like anything else, is a foundational point of knowledge. Meaning that, yes, it's going to better prepare you for a career in cybersecurity, but it's almost like saying, hey, will this piece of paper, with this magical device, this magical certification, is it going to get me into cybersecurity? And I think we can all appreciate the fact that that's probably not the case, right? A bachelor's degree by itself is not going to get you into a specific job field. A PhD isn't going to magically get you the job that you're looking for, right? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I have a doctorate, and I was like, the job I want is billionaire. I want to be Elon Musk. That has not happened yet. And since it hasn't happened yet, I'm going to say that Security Plus is probably not going to get you the same aspect with it. Now, before we continue on, I want to point out that these views and opinions are mine own. Any companies that I may be, companies, organizations I may be affiliated with, this is not the views of their companies. It is my personal views. Now that we get that out of the way, let's go right into it. So what is the value of Security Plus? Well, I think it's important to understand that Security Plus is a very widely known and accepted security certification specific to cybersecurity. Many people believe that Security Plus is the first true foundational knowledge of understanding of cybersecurity. But I want to point this out. It is recognized as a foundational certification in cybersecurity. It signals that you understand cybersecurity concepts like basic encryption, understands IT, and it makes sure that you understand basic, authentication controls. It understands basic functionality of what cybersecurity is, but it's not a hands-on certification, right? You're not going in there and understanding Security Plus and being able to go, oh, well, now I can magically type out code, or I can do scripting, or now all of a sudden I know how to program a firewall. That's not what Security Plus does. And I think anybody coming into it has a basic understanding knowing that, hey, that's probably not the case. But what it does do is it validates your understanding of cybersecurity. Now, CompTIA, they come around and they say, well, it's a skill validation. I would argue that it's not a skill validation. A skill validation, in my opinion, in my own personal opinion, is coming through and it's saying, oh, well, I know how to actually do something. And cybersecurity or Security Plus does not validate that. It doesn't. It does validate your knowledge, but it doesn't validate your skills. And there's a clear differentiation between the two. Now, knowledge is power, right? And you'll hear me talk to my students all the time, and I'll say, listen, you have to have knowledge, right? The more knowledge you have, the more experience you have. The more knowledge you have, the better opportunities you have available to you. Knowledge is uniquely powerful in a lot of what we do in modern civilization. And so it goes without saying that having Security Plus validates that knowledge base, and that's still worthwhile. It's still worthwhile getting that certification, even if it's not going to get you all by itself a job in cybersecurity. However, it will help you, right? A lot of companies require you to have a Security Plus certification. DoD 8570 is a compliance requirement for all DoD, all Department of Defense jobs that have to deal with basic understanding or level 2 understanding of cybersecurity. Requires you to have Security Plus or a relevant attached certification. And so it does have value to it. It is valuable to have Security Plus because a lot of times it's going to get you through those HR gateways. I hear numerous times that people who work in the field, they don't have a certification and they go to apply for a job and they're not even getting through the HR gateways because they don't have Security Plus, and that's a requirement of the job. And so having Security Plus will help you get through that finish line, help you get through those blockades that are in your way because of HR. And so sometimes it's like playing any type of game. Security Plus opens that door for you. Just like a PhD opened doors for me. My master's opened some doors for me. I'm sure Security Plus opened some doors for me. But you have to understand that it opens a door. It opens a pathway. And that's really where its power comes into play, right? It's a gateway certification. So if you're in IT or if you don't have a background in IT and you're trying to get into it, it clearly defines and separates you from somebody that doesn't have it. And I think that's really where its power comes into play, right? But like anything else, by itself, it's not going to do the trick. You need some hands-on experience. You can use that in labs that you create. On this channel, I show you how to walk in some very basic labs. I think it was one of the very first videos I started creating was how to build a home lab, so you could kind of get involved in those types of things. You could get hands-on experience through internships. You can get it through an apprenticeship. You can use different courses on YouTube, which are 100% free, and learn how to use Wireshark. You could get the free version of Splunk and practice Splunk on your home network. Very limited, but it gives you experience, right? You can experience through volunteering operations, right? You go to your local church or nonprofit and say, hey, I'd like to volunteer some time. Depending on how busy they are or where they're at, they may or may not come into you. But like anything else, it's all about that experience. I think when it comes into getting your first cybersecurity job, right? Security Plus is not going to do the trick. I think we've repeatedly said that, right? Not by itself. Now there are exceptions to the rule, right? There's always exceptions to the policy. If you're in an area like if you're near Fort Meade, or if you're in that little trifecta that's Maryland, near the Pentagon, near DC, Virginia, in that little hub right there, Security Plus may get you a job just because you have Security Plus. Is it going to be a great job? Probably not. Will it get you through the door? Yeah, it will get you your foot through the door. And it may not even be enough now. You may have to provide a little bit more when it comes into it. But there's always exceptions to policy. It is possible to get a job without Security Plus, but it's the exception. It's not the norm. And I think that's really when I'm going to come to play. So what else could you do? What else could you do with Security Plus? Well, you'll hear me often say, hey, go get CYSA. In my personal opinion, CYSA is that very first, in my opinion, cybersecurity certification, because it really does deal with specifically with cybersecurity, where Security Plus is more, yeah, it's cyber, but it's also IT. And so you kind of have to look at it from that perspective of being, it's kind of 50-50, in my personal opinion. You still need it. I repeatedly tell students, look, you got to get Security Plus before you go get CYSA or CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker. And then my favorite, of course, is CIS. I get here students telling me all the time, they're like, oh, I want to go get CIS, but you don't have experience. CIS requires 5 years of experience. Oh, well, I can get this. No, don't. Just don't, okay? And be careful with that. All right, so what are employers looking for? I think that's the real question here. Well, they're looking for certification. They're looking for knowledge, and they're looking for experience. And experience is kind of the key there. So how do you get, because this is the number one question I always get from students, how do I get experience if I can't get a job to get experience? Listen, we've been fighting this battle since I was your age, and I am literally almost 50. It has always been the problem of every brand new employee trying to get a job, trying to break into the industry to get that first job. And it's always the roughest. It really is. So the best thing you can do if you're trying to break into cybersecurity, maybe from a different career, maybe you're a fresh college student, is get experience. You need to put your resume in such a place where you can highlight little facts that you've done throughout your career. What have I done? Have I volunteered at this organization? Did I do a student project? Did I work on this? Now, there's a variety of different ways that you could do that. You could use Hack the Box, gives you some great hands-on experience, but you have to annotate that, right? Cyber Now Labs, right? CNL, they're one of the companies I work for on a contract basis. They teach you how to do SOC stuff, right? That's one of their hands-on opportunities that they offer, but you're paying for it. And so you really have to come to the place, I need experience. How do I get that experience without breaking the bank, per se? Anytime you're trying to get into a new career field, you're going to pay for it. You really are, right? Whether it's through a bachelor's degree, where it's through an apprenticeship, maybe it's an internship, and you may be thinking to yourself, wait a second, you're paying for an internship? Yes, you are paying with your time. You really are. There's always a payment that's being made. It may be through your time, it may be through their time, it may be through financial, but you are always paying. You are always paying. The other thing I want to point out is I get constantly asked by brand new people that are trying to break into cybersecurity, especially if they've got a bachelor's degree or they have a master's degree. Maybe they went from business over to a master's degree. Maybe they went from a non-technical role over to a technical role and are trying to break into cybersecurity. And they ask me all the time, they're like, well, wait a second. I looked on this website and it says the entry-level salary for cybersecurity is $60,000 or $70,000 a year. But when I try to go get these job interviews and I tell them $60,000 or $70,000 a year, I don't get a phone call back. Of course you don't, because that's an entry-level position. Those roles are not paying that, okay? If it's an entry-level cybersecurity position, I hate to break the bubble, right? I hate to burst your bubble. I really do. You need to take your expectations down, all right? You're looking for minimum wage work. And I know a lot of you are going to be flabbergasted that I say that. And you're going to be like, wait a second, I have this bachelor's degree, maybe I have a master's degree, maybe I have 3 certifications. Yes, but you have no experience. So your first job sucks. Listen, it doesn't matter if you're in retail, your first job sucks. It doesn't matter if you're in warehousing, your first job sucks. It doesn't matter if you're a brand new programmer, your first job sucks. That first job in any industry that you work in for the first time, it sucks. And the pay is not very good. But there's a difference. Cybersecurity, you get into the role for the first time and you get into position, you're getting experience, and the pay sucks. And the benefits suck. And it's not a great position and you can't wait to get out. But after a year, you can now have the experience. Now you can pivot. Now you can go up and your salary won't just double. Sometimes it'll triple. Sometimes it'll quadruple. And that's the difference between entry-level cybersecurity versus entry-level retail. Retail, you get a job with retail for the first time, you're getting paid $12 an hour, and a year from now you'll be at 13. Doesn't matter if you switch companies. Doesn't matter what you do, you're still making 13, 14 bucks an hour. Cybersecurity, you do it for the first year, you're making 13, 14 dollars an hour. It sucks. It's not what you wanted for, but after a year, you can pivot. You can go look for a new job somewhere else, and you've got a year of experience. Now you're making $60,000, $70,000 a year. And another year, you're making 80. Another year, you're making 90. There's a giant leap after that first career move, but it's that first job. That first job sucks. And so when I get students that ask me what job I should be looking for my very first career, my answer always stays the same. The one that says cybersecurity. And it doesn't matter what they pay. You need to put your pride aside. You need to put whatever you think your value is worth and realize that's not how companies see you. And if you can do that, you'll be fine. But the entryway, I guess it really is, will Security Plus get me hired into cybersecurity? It will help. It will not do it by itself. I think we've answered that. All right, that's it for today. That's me, Dr. K. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.